Hey everybody! Today I'd like to chat to you about 4 of the celebrity perfumes that I feel are exceptional in quality and interesting in the idea. Now you will notice that a few of them are sort of inspired by fragrances to me, in my opinion, and they do a very good job though, as sort of copying or maybe referencing the bigger designer fragrances. And I think it'd be interesting for you to know which ones they are. So celebrity fragrances. Normally celebrities don't really have very much to do with the construction of the fragrance. They will send them a sample once the fragrance is in the final stages of construction by the noses, whoever's hired. And the celebrity might have 5 cents to put into the selection process, or might not even. So I'm actually very much okay with that, simply because I feel that, construction of fragrances should be left to the professionals who know what they're doing. I don't think celebrities have any kind of training. They know what fragrances they like, but that's about it. They have no idea how to construct them, how to make them, how much they cost, how much the ingredients cost, how to outsource things. Or in terms of the noses, how to combine various ingredients. It's basically a write-off for me. I really don't care if they're a celebrity or not, and I don't really care about celebrities very much anyway. So in the end, it's really all about the fragrance, and that's what we're here for. So fragrance number 1 is a fragrance from Jessica Simpson's line, and this is Vintage Bloom. You'll notice that I have a big size with a poof. And this is my 3rd bottle actually of this fragrance. Previously I had 2 little ones because I enjoy taking this fragrance and sort of refreshing whatever I'm wearing throughout the day. This fragrance doesn't hold on to the skin for more than maybe 4 hours, so it does need to be reapplied. What is the interest of this guy? It's the only one in this current spread which I feel is very original. Jessica Simpson's line is quite nice. She creates, well, her team creates fragrances that are quite interesting, quite good quality for celebrity fragrances, well constructed, and actually possess some decent lasting power and sillage. Vintage Bloom is no exception. I have to say that this is another one of the lemon cake's deliciousness that I really have a soft spot for in fragrances. So this is a sort of a predominantly peony-based perfume that calls to memory feeling of freshly baked lemon cakes. This is one of my favorite types of fragrances because it just reminds me of my childhood, reminds me of being cuddled, reminds me of happiness and smiles. And that's what this fragrance signifies to me, and I think to a lot of people it will too. Although it's a floral and it's classified as a floral, really there is a gourmand note to it, a gourmand quality to it that lends itself to be very, very pleasant and very, very reminiscent for a lot of people. This sweet lemon kind of undertone is what gives it a lot of freshness and happiness. It reminds you of summer days, it reminds you of picnics. The floral aspect of it is peony, and peony is quite a sophisticated, interesting note that isn't overly used in white floral fragrances. This one is just very, very lovely. It is light and very fluffy. Reminds you of feather down pillows, for instance, or comforters, but it's not warm at all. The interesting thing about this one is the fact that once the lemony floral aspect of it tones down a little bit with time, a musk comes out. And this musk is not an animalic musk. It's pretty clean, but it's not sterile. It's not soapy in any way. That musk is very human-like. It's very skin scent, and it's kind of sensual and quite sexy. So, this happy, funfair, smiling and laughing bubblegum and, balloon-carrying loveliness and happiness that is in here in the beginning slowly morphs into an evening of close contact and cuddles. So very, very much of an interesting transition that I can really appreciate. And I think the fact that this fragrance does morph throughout its wear is very important, because a lot of celebrity fragrances are quite linear and they don't really change enough for me to be staying interested in the scent over many hours. So this is Jessica Simpson's Vintage Bloom. Another thing I'd like to add is the fact that the name Vintage Bloom doesn't really reflect this fragrance, I don't think. It really has to do more with the bottle. You see it's quite vintage inspired, however the scent itself I don't think is vintage. I think the scent is rather modern. For me it's more of a happy modern floral with a gourmand undertone. So vintage, no, I would say not, but I do enjoy the adorable bottle. I think it's very, very cute. It does not feel cheap at all. So next we have a gem, I think, very much a gem, and this is Lovely by Sarah Jessica Parker. This has been around on the market for many years. This is my, I think, second or third bottle of it. I believe third bottle of it, and I have one in my stash waiting to be tapped into. This is a firm favorite for me. Why is it a firm favorite for me? The bottle is quite unassuming. It's nice. I'm not saying it is not. I like the gray ribbon at the neck. The cap is quite cheap. The sprayer is not bad. Why is this Lovely? Lovely is absolutely fantastic because it, for me, echoes very much the sort of fragrance Narciso Rodriguez would put forward. If you're a fan of Narciso Rodriguez for her, especially in the baby pink bottle, not the black bottle, I think this will be something that you will find strangely familiar. I don't think it's a dupe. I don't think they're very, very close, but I do think they're quite related to each other. It seems that Lovely was possibly inspired by Narciso Rodriguez for her. And good for them, because the execution is actually quite decent. Now, I have to say that originally Lovely was produced by Coty, I think, and now the production has been switched to the Lovely Distribution Company. So unfortunately, I think the reformulation came with this handing over of the scent. Probably was purchased, and the formulation has changed, but not in the type of the scent, not in the notes, not in the quality of the scent, but really in the quality of the fragrance itself. I feel it's been watered down and the longevity is not nearly as good as it used to be. But yes, I do think it's still the same scent though. You just have to reapply more. So what is wonderful about this? This is a very romantic fragrance. Appropriate, completely appropriate for everyday wear, office wear, whatever you want. This is a Shapeshifter. It is a very womanly romantic fragrance. However, men can wear it easily. I think if you can wear florals as a guy, if you're not too shy, this will be very good for you too, because this is a perfect synergy of vintage sort of dried rose that's been sort of stuffed between those pages of the book and pressed there for maybe 30-40 years. So this kind of rose and a really wonderful musk. And the only way I can describe this musk is really, this is a Narciso Rodriguez kind of musk. Narciso Rodriguez makes amazing musks. He is famous for them. He has them down. He's like a king of musks, really, in the designer world. There is nobody who does them better than him. Even niche fragrances, most of them cannot compete with Narciso Rodriguez in terms of the kind and the quality of the musk that he makes. It's really quite special. It's very intimate. It's very close. It's very telling. It's intelligent in its own way. It creates this wonderful systematic melding with the skin that just results in magic. I have a difficult time to explain. I have a difficult time explaining how this magic happens, how it evolves, but all I can say is that Lovely has this magic also, which is really great. So this wonderful vintage rose, the Narciso Rodriguez musk, the somewhat of a floral edge that is not rose, but is kind of very mild and is more of like a backup singer. Rose is a soloist here. And the fragrance to me, just taken by itself, is a romantic, slightly vintage, and very, very, very wearable musky rose. Extremely versatile. I think this fragrance can go with you anywhere for any occasion, and it's not going to be offensive. It stays closer to skin. It lasts reasonably well, maybe 4 hours I can get out of it, and it is it's quite something. It's quite a gem. I really recommend you check it out. I've been a fan for many years, and I think that if you're a lover of scents like Narciso Rodriguez scents, or maybe even Stella McCartney, it's not quite the same, but the story is similar to me. The olfactory sort of signature is not identical, but it is within the same family. I think you should check out Lovely and see if it plays well with your skin. Next, we have another Jessica Simpson fragrance. Like I said, Jessica Simpson just makes good ones. No, don't shoot the messenger. She's good. This is the Fancy Love by Jessica Simpson, and it is adorable. If you check out the bottle, it's really sort of vintage inspired. However, when you touch it, it's a bit cheap. Very light plastic on the cap, plastic around the neck, sort of a bit of a sloppy print on the actual bottle, although the bottle is quite opaque white, which I think is adorable. So if you look from far away, it's very cute and vintage inspired, but once you're touching the bottle, it's cheaper. However, the scent is the scent itself is very affordable, and the quality of the scent is stellar. So I think these shortcomings of the bottle, packaging, whatever, doesn't matter. So why is this lovely? It's really wonderful because it really echoes and references Burberry Woman, the original Burberry fragrance, in sort of a round bottle, which I have been wearing for decades now. Well, a decade maybe. And this one really, really is has similar notes. It is a powdery, slightly sweetened peach, very romantic, very womanly, girly even, lacy, sort of gentle, very aristocratic in its own little way. This is not a very serious fragrance, though. It's quite uplifting. It's very undressed, unbuttoned, relaxed, easygoing. It is sweeter than the Burberry Woman, but they're very, very similar to my nose. It's really quite nice. The lasting power is average. I would say maybe 3 hours on that one. And the sillage is sort of close to skin to maybe medium, depending on how many sprays you give yourself. This is, I think, second bottle for me. I've had a bigger bottle previously. I think this is a very, very worthwhile fragrance to check out, especially if you are a fan of fruity, powdery, sort of vintage-inspired fragrances. If you like Trésor by Lancôme, or if you like Burberry Woman. It's not that they're very similar, but they share the same feel, and so does this one. The last fragrance we're going to speak about today is by Taylor Swift. And I'm by no means a fan of Taylor Swift. I understand that many people do like her. I'm not one of those people. Her music does not resonate with me. However, her fragrances really, really do. And I really applaud her team for putting together something that has quality as high as this one does. This is her fragrance named Taylor. I actually really like the bottle. The bottle is a bit vintage inspired as well. It has some sort of mosaic color blocking at the top. It has a plastic cap, but the plastic is not really cheap feeling plastic, if you know what I mean. It's sturdier, a bit heavier, and unfortunately it had a string of pearls around the neck. Of course, I took them off as soon as I got my hands on this because I think it really cheapened the bottle, but some people might really like it. I'm not really sure. It's just in my opinion, it wasn't very attractive. And I was able to just take it off without any problem. So the bottle is actually quite nice, very impressive to me. I think they did a great job on the design. And the fragrance, again, is another reference to Burberry Woman. I'm not really sure why all of these celebrities all of a sudden went to the Burberry Woman side of things, but I'm really happy that they did. This is more powdery than the Jessica Simpson. It's significantly less sweet, and the lasting power is monstrous. This is fantastic in terms of quality of composition and quality of ingredients, because the lasting power of this fragrance is incredibly impressive. I think that it is difficult to surpass it. It lasts for hours and hours, better than Burberry Woman. So if you're after lasting power, if you want to apply only once a day, I think you should even pick this one over Burberry Woman. Very, very good quality fragrance. The composition is very, very reminiscent of Burberry Woman. I think they're, you know, like cousins, you know, they're pretty close to each other. Oh my goodness, it's so good. It's this wonderful powdery peach again, a little less sweet, a little more powdery fruit, very, very romantic, and yet very wearable. I think this fragrance, more so even than this, is quite wearable for a multitude of occasions, and I think this can be an everyday scent very easily. It is soft yet powerful. It is romantic yet businesslike. It's quite a gem. I think it's very interesting, and out of the two, I think I would even prefer this one just because the quality is better. It is. It just is. So that's it for today about the celebrity scents. We'll continue this conversation about scents in general and celebrity scents in particular, because I do think that it's difficult to find gems within celebrity lines, but it's possible. I think some of them are quite lovely and worthwhile of your attention and your dollars, especially because they're far less expensive than some of the designer and niche fragrances. So I will leave you with that. Have a good day. Bye-bye.